Hey guys, what's up? Thought I'd come on here and talk some UFC. A little bit of thoughts on tonight's card, some picks, some thoughts on last week, which we can go over real quick first. Um, you had Cynthia Calvillo defeating Jessica I. I picked Cynthia Calvillo in that fight. I thought she might win by submission. I didn't have her on any plays or anything, but she did win the fight. But it was kind of her opportunity to make a statement. Um, in women's flyweight, which can get you a title shot at this point, considering how shallow that division is. But then you have Marvin Vettori defeating Carl Roberson. Vettori looked great. He's got a lot of different avenues to win, so it'll be interesting to see who he gets paired up with next. My only play of the night really was Andre Feely to defeat Charles Jourdain, which he did. It's a little sketchy, but he came through. I actually had him parlayed with Marab to beat Ray Borg, but turned into a straight bet after Borg pulled out of the fight. But yeah, Feely made me sweat it, but he came through with the victory. So that's really all I had to talk about with that card. So going on to tonight's card, just fair warning, if you're superstitious, I did go on like a 30-mile bike ride today, and about halfway in I took a little break and standing near a pole, and a bird shit on me. So maybe it's not my lucky day. Maybe avoid everything I'm about to tell you and go the other way. But yeah. So anyway, hopefully that's not the case. So we'll start from the bottom. I'm not gonna talk about all the fights like usual. We can start. We'll start with Modafferi and Murphy. Can't really be confident in either side. I think Murphy's the stronger, more physically imposing fighter. But Modafferi, she fights out of Las Vegas, has a ton of heart, shows up, and just grinds. So I'll take Modafferi, but nothing confident there. Then we have go right into Tisha Torres and Brianna Van Buren. I've got Van Buren here. The line might be a little wide, but give me Van Buren by decision. I think on the over 2.5, she's like minus 120 or something. I think that's a pretty good price tag. I think Torres lost 4 in a row. Susceptible to the takedown. I mean, she could very well win a round, or if she can somehow keep it standing, she could win a split decision. But I've got Van Buren in that. Bobby Green, Clay Guida. I love Guida, but he probably takes the L here. But I wouldn't bet Bobby Green at minus 260 or whatever he sits at right now. Should be a fun fight though. Jim Miller and Roosevelt Roberts. If we can get the Miller that fought Dustin Poirier, was that about 2 years ago? He lost that fight, but you give me that kind of Jim Miller with that kind of effort. I think he can come in and upset Roosevelt Roberts. I think the line's wide, but Miller's cardio is definitely in question these days. He's gonna have to pace himself, but if you can slow Roosevelt Roberts down with those leg kicks or get the fight to the mat, he could get a submission victory or win a 29-28. It all depends on what kind of Miller we see. So I kind of like Miller at the plus 220 line that we have, or I wouldn't touch Roosevelt Roberts at minus 260. There's just not really any value there, in my opinion. That said, he could come out here and roll on Jim Miller. Jim Miller's getting older, does have Lyme disease, so you don't know how it's going to affect him going in fight to fight. But I kind of do like Miller at that plus 220. Not super confident, but should be a fun fight. Um, Bilal Muhammad and Lyman Good. Been going back and forth with this. I kind of Bilal has more ways to win this fight, and if he can get takedowns and control, he'll win a decision, in my opinion. That said, it's probably going to be real sketchy in that first round. Lyman Good has a lot of power, but Lyman Good, he did have the coronavirus, if I'm not mistaken. You don't know how that's going to affect his cardio, what kind of damage that might have done to him coming into this fight. So it's a close fight. I'll take Bilal. Been going back and forth, but I'm going to take Bilal Muhammad. Minus 130, it's not terrible. I think I've seen him as low as minus 120. You could poke around and take a Lyman Good knockout prop too, if you can get good odds on that. But yeah, give me Bilal to come through with a victory there. Rocky Pennington and Marion Renault. I'll take Rocky on this. She's super durable. Not exceptional really in any one area, but Marion Renault, I think you can fade a 42-year-old women's fighter. No disrespect to her. Give me Rocky to win a 29. No, to win a 30-27. As long as she fights smart and doesn't get subbed. While Rocky is only 10-9. Yeah, I wouldn't really add Rocky to any parlays or anything, but she's my pick. Josh Emmett and Shane Burgos. Man, my initial lean was Shane Burgos. I think he was like a minus 130, minus 135. Even though, yeah, I've been going back and forth on this. Shane is just so hittable, and it really scares me, especially with a smaller octagon. It's gonna be difficult for Shane to pop and move, I think, and he's as hittable as he is. I think there's a real possibility we could see Josh Emmett land that death shot, which he's done many times, even against quicker fighters like Michael Johnson. I've been on the Josh Emmett train since he came into the UFC. Well, really after the Ricardo Lamas fight, when he showed me he's ready for this competition, and he took a ton of damage when he fought Stevens, but he showed he's bounced back from that, and he could still take a punch. So I won't say I've changed my pick from Shane Burgos, but I think it's a sit back and enjoy, or just take the dog, because Shane Burgos, he's gonna have reach, he's gonna have size, height, but there's no denying that Josh Emmett could land a death shot here, and it doesn't even have to be in the first round. It could be the second round, third round, or if Josh Emmett he could possibly go in there and get a takedown, get some mat time, win a decision. So I think it's a dog or pass situation, and it should be a hell of a fight. So then we go on to the main event. Alexander Volkov and Curtis Blades. I mean, it's a fight set up for Curtis Blades to win. I heard somebody say Volkov has good takedown defense. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. We saw Verdum basically take Volkov down at will, and even though Verdum is a great grappler, probably a better grappler than Curtis Blades, the wrestling is much different. Curtis Blades, phenomenal wrestler. That being said, I disagree with the line minus 400 on Curtis Blades. I do disagree with that, because if Alexander Volkov can stuff some takedowns, he's been preparing for this fight for a while. I think they were originally booked for early this year. Volkov, if you come in here, stuff some takedowns, keep the fight standing, He doesn't really have knockout power, which is another concern. So I do think Curtis Blades probably wins. Line is far too wide, in my opinion. I mean, if you were able to get Curtis Blades at that minus 200 line when he opened up, I think that would have been a pretty good bet. But now I think it's, you take a shot on Volkov or just pass, or what I did is I took the over 2.5 rounds at plus money, plus 120. I thought that was really good value. Again, they're heavyweights. It's a smaller octagon, which concerns me. The fight could end at any moment. Totally understand that. But we have a wrestler and a striker without much knockout power. And if this fight does hit the mat, which it will, Volkov does have a pretty good guard. He's very long in his guard. Doesn't take a ton of damage. Verdum couldn't submit him. Not that Curtis Blades is necessarily going to go for submissions, but Volkov is pretty decent off his back as far as limiting damage and avoiding submissions. So I definitely liked the over 2.5 rounds. Or just take a small shot on the underdog here. That's really about it. I mean, if you are going to take Blades, I do kind of like maybe a 4th round TKO Curtis Blades or 5th round TKO Curtis Blades. I think I saw that at like plus 1,500 or plus 1,400. I think that's a lot of value there because, I think if Curtis Blades wins, which odds are he does, he's going to win in that 3rd, 4th, 5th round, or maybe even a decision. Again, they're heavyweights, smaller octagon. Somebody could win inside of 15 seconds. But in my opinion, the value's on the over 2.5 rounds. But in all, it's a pretty good card. Looking forward to it. I'm gonna try and watch most of it this week. So good luck to anybody out there that's making their plays, and we'll talk to you later.